You are listening to Living That Life podcast. Subscribe on iTunes and at youtube.com Living That Life for amazing travel videos. View discretion is advised.
Welcome to this episode. I got a special one for you. I'm coming at you from the sunny climes of northern Thailand, Chiang Mai, and I met this guest in Chiang Mai just last week. He's got his own podcast. It's called Liberty Entrepreneurs. And so I love that he's all about liberty. He's all about living life to the fullest. And that's obviously what we're about. And he actually gave a talk in Chiang Mai about Bitcoin and about STEEMIT in particular. So first of all, where you can find him is libertyentrepreneurs.com. This is his website. So he's done podcasts all around the online space, from tax tips for digital nomads to he interviewed Roger Ver, the guy who's starting his own free market country. I actually have been following that on YouTube, so I was excited to see that. The one and only Ashe Oro here of Liberty Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Hey, Riley. Thanks so much, man. Pleasure to be on the show.
Yeah. Good to have you. Thanks for coming on. So when I interview digital nomads, I kind of like to just start real quick about their background. Like, how did you get into the online game, I call it? And I guess first of all, where are you from and how did you get into the online game and how did you get yourself to be in Bali right now?
Yeah, so I am currently in Bali, but last week I was in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and where I gave a couple presentations on various cryptocurrency topics. I think the one that we met at, it was called How to Cash Flow Your Cryptocurrency. But born and raised in the United States, North Carolina specifically, and I went to school for engineering, computer and electrical engineering. And after 7 years of working in the engineering field as a programmer and various types of product and technical support, I decided that the cube life was no longer for me. And I was listening to a political and economics, free market-based economics talk show every day. And the host said, he's ranting about the government regulations and this and that. And he said, it's become so expensive and onerous for me in the United States to service my non-U.S. clients that I'm going to build an offshore bank. He was an investment guy. And he said, I'm looking for some guys to move to the Caribbean to help me build an offshore bank. You don't have to have any banking experience. You just need to have a good work ethic and really understand like free market economics. And so I applied for it in early 2012, maybe like January. Got offered a position and quit my engineering job and moved down to the Caribbean, where I lived for about 4 years while I helped this guy, Peter Schiff, build Euro Pacific Bank in the Caribbean. And that was my foot in the door for this digital nomad life.
Oh, wow. Well, that's an interesting story. So obviously since then you've gone on to start your podcast and your VA business. How did you get into starting that?
Yeah, man. So I left Euro Pacific Bank last year in 2017 in March, and I'd had the podcast for about a year and a half prior. And it just became so much work, creating a podcast, especially if you're going to do any type of production to it, just getting it produced every week or every couple weeks and doing the art and starting to try to build a community. It became about 20 hours a week for me to just produce the podcast. And I never had the idea of cash flowing the podcast. So I didn't accept sponsors and, I didn't put any type of paid ads on my website. So I knew I needed to hire some help, but I didn't have a large budget. So I was listening to, I read the 4 Hour Work Week. I was listening to Pat Flynn and some Entrepreneur on Fire with John Lee Dumas, and they're all the time talking about virtual assistants. And so I hired my first virtual assistant through Virtual Staff Finder. And I was pretty disappointed, honestly, with just their setup and their system, their onboarding process. I did end up hiring a good virtual assistant, and I started talking about him on my show a bit. That's him right there, actually, Dexter. And whenever I started talking about Dexter on my show, people started writing in and contacting us, and friends of mine would be like, hey, help me find a virtual assistant. I was like, I'm not in the virtual assistant business. I'm a podcaster and I work at this bank. And eventually I asked Dex, I was like, do you think we can find someone a virtual assistant? He's like, sure. And so he put me in touch with whom I later found out was his cousin, Cherry. If you scroll up, you can see her too. So that I could help one of my friends hire a virtual assistant. And she was so good, I decided to hire her myself. And from there, we put together this website and, just kind of backed into a virtual assistant business. I never anticipated starting it, but I basically built it because I knew that I could do a better job than what one of the major players in the space was already doing. And I knew that I would need to hire more virtual assistants throughout my career of being a digital nomad and building digital businesses. So I was my first client. And I think that most good businesses start out by you being your own first client. And here we are, over a year later, we've got about 50 virtual assistants hired around the world now.
Wow, awesome. So yeah, to my audience, to my crowd, I'll say one tip that I could give to people starting is I wish I hired my first virtual assistant for my Amazon FBA business a lot sooner than we did. Probably a year sooner, I wish we hired one. And you can get your first virtual assistant, as you saw on their website, for starting at $300 a month. And that's like part-time, 20 hours a week, which is like, that's a whole half day every day. Like that's a good amount of time, whether it's, so we have a current VA doing a customer service, but we're also looking for another one for kind of social media outreach, brand building type stuff. So I would say to all the FBA people out there, look into hiring a VA sooner than later. The cool thing about the Liberty VAs.com is they look at all the applications of people that suit what you're looking for, and then they narrow it down to the best 3. And so you only have to look at the top. You only have to interview really 3 people. Where I was before, I was going to Upwork and I was like sifting through all these like invitations and like reading all these like cover letters, and I was like, okay, well, this guy is this much per hour, this guy's this much per hour, but he's new, but he's still cheap, but he looks like it. So anyways, right. Yeah, you guys can check out the whole thing. That's for my audience. So anyways, cool. Let's move on to the crypto stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So I've done one little interview on the crypto. So I guess tell people. Well, obviously, I mentioned before that you gave a talk in Chiang Mai about crypto and about STEEMIT in particular. The name of the talk was Cash Flow Your Crypto. And so I had to come in Chiang Mai. And actually, I didn't know the talk was going to be about STEEMIT in particular. I just saw, Cash Flow Your Crypto. Oh, that's exactly what I need to do. And actually, earlier that day, before I came to your talk, I was building out my STEEMIT blog. So I was like, whoa, this is like crazy timing. I was just getting like heavy into STEEMIT. So I guess how long have you been involved in the crypto space? And what is your main thing now? Is it the STEEMIT? Is that your main kind of avenue, or how are you investing all in general?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So I learned about cryptocurrencies in 2011, whenever it ran up from like 50 cents, when Bitcoin ran up to 50 cents to $30 and then crashed back. And back at the time, I was a little bit, I'm ashamed to say it, but a little bit of a Bitcoin hater, because I was a gold and silver guy, right? I thought that gold and silver were free market money, and that was like the best form of money that the world had ever seen. So I didn't take a whole lot of time and patience and curiosity to learn about Bitcoin back there. And it wasn't until 2013 that I started to actively get in and buying cryptocurrencies and get into the space itself and actually call myself like a community member, an active community member in cryptocurrencies. And I have been pretty much every day since 2013. But I've done, the majority of my activity in cryptocurrencies has been just networking and speaking at various conferences or meetups and interviewing. A lot of the stuff that I've learned came from, of course, just hunkering down and watching as many videos as I can or reading as many articles as I can, but also interviewing cryptocurrency CEOs and founders and developers and entrepreneurs just to figure out, like, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Is anyone else doing this type of stuff? Because we have this entirely new type of money and this new type of economy that's outside of the grasps of government and the legacy banking system for the most part. And so we don't even know, like, what opportunities are going to open up whenever the entire paradigm of money changes. And that's just what's happened. And so I just started reading all this stuff, and eventually I had thought through the implications of a new type of peer-to-peer based money that nobody can stop. It doesn't require any third party's permission, right? I would know this because I built an offshore bank. I was that banker that people hated. I was the one closing your account. I was the one telling you that, no, I'm not going to deposit this money from your client until you give me a copy of your contract. I need a most up-to-date and notarized copy of your passport. You probably need to send me your utility bill again so I can prove to our regulators where you live, right? I need a copy of the invoice so that, right, it's insane. So I built what I'm now trying to replace by going full on in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, you were on the gatekeeper side, all of these checks and balances, and now you're like,
right.
Why is there even a gatekeeper? This doesn't make sense. I'm totally in, deep down the Federal Reserve wormhole, and just like, 4 years ago or whenever I started, getting into that space. And so, yeah, after you realize, oh yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like now this whole crypto peer-to-peer decentralized revolution is, quite exciting to say the least, of course.
Yeah, man. But specifically about STEEMIT, as a content creator myself, I was really intrigued by the idea that, well, what if the new coins being mined every day, like in Bitcoin, there's new coins being mined, in Ethereum, there's new coins being mined, in Steam, there's new coins being mined every day. What if those new coins went to someone besides just the miners, right? What if the payouts could go to someone and use that incentive structure of new coins to incentivize other types of actions rather than just mining? And so I learned about STEEMIT in probably, I don't know, May of 2016. And I interviewed the CEO, Ned Scott, in probably June or July of 2016, which is when I became a member of the STEEMIT community. And at first, like most other people, I thought, oh, this is too good to be true. This just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't make sense. How can you just like have this new money being printed? And yeah, that's where I'm at right now, actually, in that co-working space. But like, how can this even make sense? And the more I learned about voluntary inflation and how you can actually specifically set inflation to pay out certain people for certain things, then it all made sense to me. Like, why should we give all of the new coins being mined to miners? Why don't we give them to other types of people to incentivize them, for instance, to post blogs or to comment or to upvote me? Now, I find myself on STEEMIT a lot more than on Facebook because there's a monetary reward directly associated with it. If you scroll down and click on one of the links, let's see here. Video of my Steem BitShares and EOS presentation. You can see it's got a $61 upvote, right? What happens there, if you scroll down to the comments, you'll see that people upvote me, right? And then I upvote them. So now it's a two-way value exchange, which is really cool. As a content creator, you always want to give back to your community, right? Because they spend a lot of time like commenting and sharing your stuff and listening to your stuff, but you don't really have a way to give back to them unless you do some type of competition where you give away a free t-shirt or something, or if you give them a shout out on your podcast. Well, now you can upvote people on your post, on your blog, and actually allocate some of the new steam that's being created every single day. You can allocate that to your community. Think about how that changes the entire landscape of content creation and building an online community. Now, you better believe that some people religiously follow my blog because they know and they've heard that I'll thumb them up, I'll upvote them, and maybe they'll get $1 or $2 or even 10 or 15, 25 cents. It's a lot more incentive.
Wow, interesting. So for people that have never heard of STEEMIT, what do you give them as kind of the elevator pitch for what it is?
Yeah, so STEEMIT, just think about it as a social media website, right? Kind of like Facebook or Twitter, where it's based on a blockchain. So what that means is that you can't censor it, right? If you want to insert something into the blockchain, meaning you want to write a new post gets submitted to the blockchain, there's no middleman to say what you can write, how many times you can write, what you can say. Are you allowed to talk about your government or not, right? Well, some people, some platforms like Facebook, for instance, will censor your commentary, will censor your post. STEEMIT removes that middleman and allows the freedom of expression on social media because we're trusting a blockchain to organize our platform now and not a third party, one of these big platform providers and creators like Facebook. You know, I don't know what you trust, Mark Zuckerberg or blockchain-based mathematics more. I'll take a blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. And so the way I kind of described it in my YouTube description, like follow me. I called it the new YouTube, where you can make money using it. You know, just like the one sentence. Obviously, not even talking about the Bitcoin, the uncensored part of it, and you know, obviously the YouTube part being DTUBE, which is the video aspect of STEEMIT, right?
Yep, that's right. So basically, STEEMIT is a blockchain, and you can build apps on top of it, just like you've heard people building on top of Ethereum, for instance. But with Steem is the blockchain. STEEMIT is just one interface to that blockchain. Another interface is busy.org, for instance, which gives you the same type of ability to use the Steem blockchain, the content creation blockchain, but puts a new interface onto it. But you can upload your videos to DTUBE. It's like distributed YouTube, basically. But instead of YouTube getting the majority of the money that you make on your videos, you get the majority of the money that you make on your videos. It's just, who do you want to pay? Do you want to put your content on a platform where you can get paid, or do you want to put your content on a platform where they can get paid? Right.
Awesome. Exactly. So that's what I said. Like, everyone go follow your favorite content creators on DTUBE, which is the new uncensored YouTube, where exactly what Ash said, you keep most of the money that your content gets. So here's my DTUBE page, which is connected over to the STEEMIT page. STEEMIT is kind of the blog post, and then YouTube or DTUBE is kind of the video tube aspect of STEEMIT. And obviously go check out Ash's page. Go check out my page. Is starting to be built. I need to start interacting here more to gain a following. On that note, someone's starting out. Let's say they're a content creator, and they're starting out on STEEMIT. What's the best way to to build followers on STEEMIT? Is it just to repost all of your content like all at once, like over to STEEMIT, or should you like drip one repost per day, like move it from YouTube over to STEEMIT, or from your blog over to STEEMIT, one per day? Or should you be just posting content relative talking about crypto space? Should you do that stuff first? Or what would you advise, like kind of a digital nomad blogger, I guess, a content creator?
Yes. So since it's a platform, it draws a various community. So there are people, there are Korean blogs there, there are anarchist blogs, there's socialist blogs, there's blogs about politics, there's blogs about the Oscars, there's blogs about Super Bowl. You know, it's anything that you want to blog about. Now, if you have content that you've already written, you can repurpose that and put it onto Steam, but you don't only want to repurpose stuff on Steam. You want to stay relevant as well, right? And so if you're going to repurpose some of your stuff, it's community driven. So write us, you know, if you have show notes or something, give us a little update at the beginning, like, hey, you know, my name's Riley. I recorded this a little bit ago, but I'm really starting to appreciate the STEEMIT platform and community, and I want to share this stuff with you. Also, I want to support, you know, the apps being built on STEEMIT. So I moved this from, you know, from YouTube, and I've now uploaded it to DTUBE because that helps strengthen our community. But I post about every day. I post something that catches my attention. You know, if you think you have an interesting perspective, this is a great platform to get your perspective out and kind of put your flag up and see who else shares your perspective. You know, there's people from all over the world that I would never have an opportunity to meet that not only share my perspective, but I can thumb them up. And to a lot of people in the world, an extra $1 or $2 a day means a lot, right? It means a whole lot. And so this is a way that they follow me, comment, share. I can upvote them. It's much more community driven, I feel like, whenever you have your own currency than whenever you're just kind of getting your kicks with a couple likes on Facebook. But find something you're passionate about and post, you know, every day. That's what it takes. It takes that consistency of posting every day. And don't just post on your post. I mean, don't just comment on your post. Go and find some people to follow and start building the community that way. There's a lot you can do by leveraging the audience that someone else has already created. So jump into some of my posts. You know, I've got over 1,000, almost 1,100 followers now. Jump on some of my posts and start commenting and give your feedback and start building your community as an auxiliary community off of mine.
Sweet. So I had a question about, let's say you're getting started on STEEMIT. Can you, or you're a blogger, you want to, you know, start your STEEMIT blog. Can you buy STEEMIT like on the exchanges, like trade some of your Bitcoin in for some STEEMIT and like put that towards your STEEMIT blog? And would that help you grow your followers quicker?
Yes, right, for sure, man. I mean, so to grow your followers, one of the really interesting things that you can do on STEEMIT is the more Steam you have, so the more Steam you've either earned through creating content or Steam that you've purchased on the exchange, the more powerful your upvote is. So for instance, your upvote, since you're new on Steam, probably isn't worth anything. Maybe a penny or two, right? Since I've been on the platform for coming up on, you know, over 1.5 years now, my upvote's worth about, I don't know, the entire crypto market is burning on fire right now and it's crashed, so it's worth less than what it used to. But my upvote's worth about, you know, anywhere between $5 and $10 at the moment. And so, all right, so one upvote, man. But you can, you know, the more Steam you have, the more it shows that you're part of the community, and you get to influence the new Steam coins that get created. And you basically tell the blockchain, like, hey, blockchain, I'm a member of your community, and I show you this by the amount of Steam that I hold. Allocate this comment for 25 cents or 50 cents or $1 or something like that. It's a much different way to build a community when you've got basically money to give out, crypto money to give out, that doesn't come out of your own pocket, because you're not giving away your Steam when you upvote someone.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm just hearing the details of how Steam Power, Steam Dollar, like all that works. So for people that want to read about it, they can just go look into it on STEEMIT. There's a blog post that describes difference between all these Steam Power and these upvoting things and all that stuff. So you guys can check the links in the description to learn more about that. Um, a way a new person might view it is kind of like a Reddit, because over here you're seeing the tags. You can click on the tags that you're interested in. Here we got travel, so it's kind of like a uncensored Reddit based on blockchain crypto, where you can actually make money on your good posts and upvotes. In Reddit they call it karma, but here it's called Steem. But it's actually got
Here
real
you can
value.
actually cash it out. Yeah, here you can cash out your karma, for instance, and go buy something with it, right? I mean, I a couple of my podcasts made a couple $100 a piece the other week, and I cashed it out. I bought Ethereum with it and sold that Ethereum to someone, and basically went on a little mini vacation in Chiang Mai because I wanted to celebrate that a podcast that has never really made me any money. I made, $700, $800 on because of STEEMIT, and I cashed it out and got Thai baht for it and went and, partied for a weekend. But one of the most confusing things for new people when joining the Steem community is, what do I post on and what tags do I use to post, right? Like, where's the money? Yeah, you get 5 tags. And those are your 5 tags to try to insert your post into the best tag that corresponds to the topic that you write on, but also to get in front of a community. And so if you bring up STEEMIT again, you can go, and this isn't public yet. We haven't released this yet, but we're building an app on STEEMIT for new users specifically to try to help them Steem smarter, and that's the name of it. So if you go to steemit.com/@steam_smarter, and we haven't released it yet, we're still in our closed beta, but if you follow that site, follow that user, Steem Smarter, soon, within a couple weeks, maybe less, we're going to release an app where it shows you not only where the most engagement is on Steem, basically, where are people getting excited? Where are people hanging out? Where are people voting and commenting? Where's the engagement happening? But even more interesting, where the best money opportunities are, where the financial opportunities are. So maybe you could maybe you could post. Maybe you're an animal lover, right? And you could post about dogs and cats, but you don't know which one to write about. So you just happen to write about one. But with our software, you're going to be able to see, okay, I could write about dogs and cats, but I see that cats, the average cat post is paying $15 a post, where the average dog post is only paying $7 a post. And so then that the community wants to know about cat posts, and so you can write about cats as your animal of choice for the day, if you will.
Right. Wow, this is cool. Oh, I was just looking into about a pencil. I was just eating at Rustic and Blue this morning across from this cafe in Chiang Mai. just looking at his pics real quick. Anyways, yeah, link will be in the description, of course, as always, guys. Wow, okay, that's really cool. So bloggers can look into this to see, where are people excited? Where are they upvoting? Where do I need to get? And obviously, every blogger's goal is to take their blog full time. So
Right.
To hear you just make a couple $100 off of one podcast, that got me real excited. And you've only been on it like a year and a half, so like, wow, if YouTube, I get like maybe $200 a month of YouTube, and if I can make that off one like really good podcast interview, that's an exciting thing. So yeah, I will definitely be following your STEEMIT and your whole journey into the crypto. And for people that want to know more about some different methods to kind of cash flow crypto, because every entrepreneur's goal is to automate and create passive income. So he gave his presentation in Chiang Mai last week about different ways to put that on automation. Your not just STEEMIT, but STEEMIT is one major one, but your overall crypto portfolio, how to put that in automation. And he goes into some technical detail onto that. So look out for that video in the description of this podcast if you want to look into that.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. That video is not quite ready. I hired a professional videographer to record that one. And so I've been told that, today's Tuesday, the 6th of February. I'm hoping that that's going to be released by this coming Monday, the 12th. So I'm not sure when this will go live, but we hope that that presentation will be available. But for now, you can everybody go create an account on STEEMIT and start. One of the interesting things is that once you start building a following, you're voting for your people are voting for you, right? And so each of you are allocating some new steam to each other, and that's when things get really interesting. I'll drop one more little tip, like a trick, for your audience that not a lot of people know about yet. If you go to steamvoter.com, this is an auto voting app built on top of the Steam platform, that if there's an author or a content creator that you really, really like, and maybe you don't have time to jump on Steam every day, but you want to support this content creator, you can set an auto voter so that the software will use your account to auto vote that content creator every single time they post without you having to manually go in there. So this is a way that you can take care of your community, even if you need to step away or you go on vacation. The people that you're supporting don't miss out on your upvotes.
Sweet. Absolutely.
It's really interesting.
And of course, I'll tie this into your virtual assistant business, but I'll leave people to put two and two together on their own. But one way to cash flow something is to hire people to help you with stuff. So I'll put it at that. So wink. Because for podcasts in general, like what you started out saying, you were doing 20 hours a week just producing your podcast. Same thing with me with my YouTube channel. I was doing 20 hours a week, or maybe 10 hours a week, whatever, like 8 hours per video editing vlogs. So what did I have to do to manage my time better so I can focus more on my Amazon FBA business? What's really making me the money is hire a video editor. So I've had a video editor for like coming up to a year now. So, and eventually I want to hire, a bigger, blogger team, a virtual assistant team around me to help me grow, my podcast and my blogs all around the internet. So it all kind of ties together. Yeah. How about that? And
yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, that was it. I think I gave the audience out there a good picture of what STEEMIT is and why they need to be looking into it.
Yep. And this is just the first blockchain-based social media platform in existence right now, but I predict that there's going to be many, many, many of these in the future. So STEEMIT was the first. It was the groundbreaker. It was basically the MySpace of the blockchain social media. It will most definitely not be the last one, and it most likely won't even be the largest one, because like any community, when you're building an app and you're building a community, there's going to be bugs and there's going to be issues, and anybody that starts using the platform is going to notice that it's not as user friendly, but as maybe Facebook. But the great thing is we're still very young in this blockchain revolution, especially in this social media blockchain revolution. And over time, you're going to be able to build your community on various types of social media that are backed by a blockchain, that have cryptocurrency payouts to support yourself and your community. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So if you haven't gotten into cryptocurrency yet, you're intimidated by blockchains, the best apps out there allow you to use them without even knowing that you're using a blockchain. It's absolutely not too late to get into this stuff, and you can go on STEEMIT and start earning cryptocurrencies without ever having to buy anything. So just use your passion, find out where your tribe is, and write your content, engage, and you're going to be rewarded.
Awesome. Absolutely. And just because I have to ask you, and someone else asked me to ask you, crypto buying and investing in general, people that are maybe thinking about getting in, they see this big dip going on this week, early February, and they're still thinking about getting in. Um, Give people who are kind of beginners your overall picture of maybe why everything is down this week, and kind of where you see it going for the future in general. For, let's say, someone is thinking about investing in some Ethereum right now, but they're not really sure, like, is this thing for real? Is it crashing? Or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So before you invest, and here's the investment banker side of me coming out, but before you invest, of course, do your homework, do your due diligence, know what you're buying. Like the only reason that I've done relatively well in cryptocurrencies is because I didn't invest in anything else. I knew what cryptocurrencies were. I knew the use case. I knew how it helped promote individual freedom, and it aligned with my goals and my values. And so I bought in to this idea of a blockchain-based society. But we're still very young in this whole blockchain space. Yes, it's been around since 2009, and 2017 was an absolute ridiculous year for just pretty much every crypto project. And you're going to go through bubbles, just like when the internet was new. Nobody really knew how it was going to work. And a lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people made a lot of wrong decisions and lost a lot of money. So don't ever invest more than you can lose, of course. I don't think this stuff's going to zero. It may. I think there's very little possibility of that, but it could be years yet until we finally start to realize the real implications of what blockchain and cryptocurrencies are going to do in our daily lives. But we're still super new into this space. Just, if you've got an extra $500 or so a month, may not be a bad idea to throw $100 or $200 into some of these cryptocurrencies, as long as you know what you're buying. If you buy blindly, what do they say about a fool and his money?
Absolutely. Okay, cool. I think that's a good way to wrap it up. And perfect that you said, $400, that's about how much my YouTube channel is bringing in per month. And, I've already put it out there that all my YouTube money is going into cryptos right now, and it's down right now this week. Or whatever, and I'm putting more money in. So, I'm not rich by any means, but any like side cash I have, I'm telling my audience, like, you probably should be getting in right now. Like, I'm telling my friends, I'm like, yeah, if you've been scared up to now, this is a good time to get in, like freaking yesterday. Anyways, do your own research, guys. Plenty of good blogs to read out there, especially on STEEMIT. So yeah, I think that was good. Thanks for being on, Ash. They know where to find you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show, Riley. Anytime, man.
Thanks for listening till the end. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment and a review. See ya!